we are here with Gomti, and I don't know much anything about it. I just only know that we are going to talk about something about reading and reading with children. I saw your website and a little bit about you, but it's better that you should tell about yourself, from where you are, what you do, how you do, and why it is important that what you are doing. Okay, so over to you, and just
Absolutely.
let's enlighten us with your knowledge.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And hi, everybody. I'm Gomati Narayanan, and I'm the founder of Early Readers Lab. And I'm from Chennai, right? South of India. So I'm from Chennai. And I know a lot of your audience are from the north. So सभी के लिए नमस्कार मेरे को हिंदी उतना नहीं मालूम है तो just adjust with my English, okay? So I am a reading specialist. What is a reading specialist? A reading specialist is somebody who helps others to read. So what I do is I help children, very young children, from 3 years until 8 years. I make them read. Now, why should I make somebody that young to read, right? Oftentimes, parents will be thinking, अरे हो जाएगा अभी खेलने के लिए टाइम है वक्त है अभी खेलने का वक्त है तो और टाइम ज्यादा है to start to read. But the research shows that a child is actually ready to read when they are about 3 years old, right? When a newborn baby is born, the baby is actually listening to all the sounds around the baby. Parents talking, grandparents talking, siblings talking, uncles and aunts talking, and that's how their language starts to develop. First, they are listeners. In fact, their listening skill starts when they are in the mother's womb from sixth month, right? When their ears start to develop, they are ready to listen. And that's why you will see that when a newborn baby is born, around their father and mother, they are very happy because their voice they have heard the most.
Mhm.
But when strangers come in, they show that anxiety. So they are ready to listen as soon as they're born, right? And then listening to everything that they have heard, by the time they are 1 year, 9 months, 10 months, they start to speak, right? So we call it a LSRW skills, the listening, then they speak, right? They start to speak small, small words, small, small sentences, and between age 1 and 2, 3 years, they are starting to speak fluently. After that, a child is actually ready to read. Okay. So I have lived in the US for 10 years, right? I've spent my 10 years in US. I've lived in London for a couple of months. And through all that experience, what I have seen is parents outside of India, they engage with children even at birth, right? As soon as the child is born, they engage with children through books. They read a lot of books for children even when they are actually born, just born babies. They read books to them. There are also reading clubs for expectant mothers, where pregnant ladies would come and attend this reading session, right? So, and that is why, and it is understood that their native language is English. They speak in English, and that's why they're reading English. However, like if a child in America can start to read at 2 years, what is stopping a child in India to stop reading at 2 years, right? It's the same brain, same child, same physiology of a child. So the awareness of this, right, that a child is ready to read by 3 years is very, very lacking in our country. The reason for that is, I think a large part of this is reading is associated with hobby, right? Reading is actually a necessary fundamental skill for schooling. That awareness is not among our people, right? And that is why, and this is something that I want new parents to understand. Your child is ready to start to read when they are 3 years old. And when somebody is ready, right? When a child is ready to do something, if you're not giving it to them, it means you are taking away something that they are actually born to do. Yes. So, coming back to what I was going to say, that children are ready to read by 3. Research is also show that a child when they are at 6 years, right? First standard, when they go to first standard, if a child is able to read fluently, that child performs at top 10%. They are the topper in the class. Simple, right? A teacher is talking about something, they're writing on the board. If a child is able to read that, obviously that child is going to do better in the class. So a child should know to read by the time they're 6 years old. They are ready to read when they are three. They should know to read by the time they're 6 years. Now, every year that you're wasting beyond that, research shows that if a child is a poor reader at 6 years, there is 90% chance that child will be a poor reader at fourth grade. So even when they're 10 years old, they're not going to become fluent readers. And that is why I am doing what I'm doing. I'm creating this awareness among parents, saying that, your child is ready to read by three. It takes about, 3 to 6 months to 1 year for a child to become a fluent reader. It's not a quick process, right? It is a learned skill. And another myth that parents have is also that, you know, ये तो syllabus में होता है, like schools teach reading, so why should I teach reading? The matter of fact is that schools do not teach reading. If you think about it as parents, if you think about it, when your child is 3 years, you actually take them to a play group and put them in a school. After that, they are asked to write. They're not asked to read. They don't teach them reading. They teach them writing. So what happens is we call it the LSRW skills, the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But what's happening with the current education system is that the reading skill is masked, it is skipped, and they go to the writing skills directly. And because of this, children, their developmental milestones are skipped, right? So because of that, large portion of children, like more and more children, are struggling to, cope up with reading, cope up with their academics, right? And that is what I want to change in the current education system. So that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I am on a mission to inculcate the love for reading in children and make children confident individuals. When a child is confident, they are going to be lifelong learners. And I want children to be confident, lifelong learners and tomorrow's leaders. I am doing the seeding work of creating tomorrow's leaders right from the foundation.
First of all, I acknowledge your energy that you are doing really great about children's, and I am a little bit overwhelmed about what I'm going to say next. Is like something which I can relate. Since years and years, I was into the same impression that something in our education system is wrong.
Yes,
Why? I feel like that? Because what happens, even my children's, my when my daughter is reading super, she reads so many books, and since childhood she has a habit of reading. And my son is not that kind of reader, like he's fine with on his own world. He's 8-year old now. Now he has difficulties in reading, but now he's reading, but he's 8-year old now. Now the broken system I was talking about, why I was so overwhelmed when you're talking about something. I was always in the impression since last 10 years that if I open a school, if I open a school, I will not go with this conventional system of our reading, listening, and all that nonsense. I will focus on reading first. I will put them as soon as they enter the school, they should put into the library. So
exactly.
that thought was always there in my mind. And
Yes,
why? Because for me also, I am a good reader. So I read books, and I read so much. I always know that school system, like whatever happens in school, it is very less for a child. That the basic things they are. But if a a children or child learns reading first, we can give them the books which is out of the syllabus, like not from the school, and they can read the books, the novels, and the other things. And so by the time they are like gradually growing from the school, they can have reading habit of other books. And if you ask me, I have the knowledge other than school is based on the books I am reading.
And that is the point, right? Why do we say that children who are able to read early on becomes toppers in class? It's because a child's textbook has only what 2% of their knowledge. Where the knowledge that they actually gain is from the books that they read outside, right? Not only that, books actually teach children emotional grounding. So a child who is able to read, in fact, I will share a story about this little girl. She was only 3.9 year old, right? Uh, and she was her parents joined her into my community. And the only thing her parents told me was that she's a very adamant child. She always cries. She throws a lot of tantrums, which is typical of children of that age, right? And so I don't know what to do. Some class I want to join. I'm joining your class. Okay, and both the parents were doctors. So they leave home by 7 o'clock. She's left with a caretaker, and only after like 2 weeks of she spending time with me, this girl, 3.9 year old, she went and told her mom, "Mom, you know why I'm crying? Because I am by the time when I wake up, you guys are not at home, so I'm feeling very anxious about that, and that's why I'm crying all day. From tomorrow, wake me up half an hour before you leave for your duty so that I will start my day well, so that I will be calm, and I promise I will not throw any tantrums after that."
Okay.
Can you imagine a 3.9 year old? This is 3.9 year old solving her own problem. I don't know what book I read to her that where she got this idea. And that's what books do to children, right?
Right.
They take a lot of inspiration from the characters in the book. Be
Hmm.
it, and when they grow older, they read biographies, autobiographies, and they learn about, Steve Jobs or, Mahatma Gandhi or MLK. So they learn from these, great people, and that's how they develop, life skills, right? So not just knowledge, and think about it, right? A child who is able to read, their vocabulary is so wide,
Hmm.
yes, and hence they're able to converse well. They're able to communicate what they want to communicate.
Hmm.
When you go to corporate world, right, you will see that a lot of people, and I'm a IT professional, and that's why I'm able to say that a lot of people know a lot of things. But what differentiates between a topper in the organization versus somebody who is not? And even in colleges, you will see the difference is their ability to communicate, right? And this communication skills happens only when they are reading a lot of books. When they read a lot, their vocabulary increases. So it's all interconnected, right? And it was interesting that you said that I will remove everything. Only reading will be given to children, and that's the only thing you have to give your child. We as parents, right? We are very loving, right? And we buy them a lot of gifts. Think about in their first birthday or birthday parties, Diwali parties. Diwali just went by. How many gifts we give them? But the only gift you have to give to your child for their future is their ability to read. Buy them books, surround their environment with lots of books, but age appropriate books, right? I mean, there is a method to introducing all this. There's a method to enabling a child to read. Learn that method and teach your child the right way. In fact, I see that in my own son, right? My son started to read when he was 3.5 year old, around 4 years old. He started to read fluently. By the time he was 5 years, he could read chapter books. He could read very fluently because chapter books children start to read by 6.5, 7 years old. Every child is different, right? There's no comparison when it comes to reading. Like every other milestone, every child stands up at a different month. Every child crawls at a different month. Similarly, reading is also different for every child. But the earlier you start, when you start to read to your child when at birth, your child will start to pick up that skill faster, right? So my child started to read chapter books only when he was about 4.5, 5 years old. Now he can read any books that's given to him. He knows more about astronomy, about dinosaurs, about human physiology. He teaches me a lot of things, right? And at 10 years old, he can have strike a conversation with an adult and know more about a subject than an adult, right? And I've seen that firsthand with my child, with the children that I work with. I've helped over 100 children in a paid community, but for the past 7 years, I've been working in the field of early education. I've helped over 500 children through storytelling, through reading sessions, through a lot of reading that I do. I have a reading club that through which I teach children to read. And I also run a library called Books Trail in Chennai, right? So everything, so when one thing led to the other, right? When I saw there was a need for my child to start to read, my child actually had more books than toys when he was 1 year old. So we had over 100 books when he was a year old, right? But when he was graduating to chapter books at around 4.5, 5 years, we saw that there were no age appropriate books. And hence, me and my partner, we started this idea during COVID. We said, let's start a library because, it's one thing that we are encouraging children to read, but, you should have that environment. You should have the right resources for the child to be able to read.
Right.
So, and that's how we started this library also. And now, in just 3 years, we are about 450 plus subscribers, and we deliver books to the children at their doorsteps. And I've seen children who are reading. I'm seeing how their knowledge is so. They become very intellectual children, and they can speak. Very rich language. They can speak with lots of awareness about the subject that they're speaking.
Now, see, this is the very deep thing you just told me, because what I feel is, first off, this is the responsibility of a parent, that they should give this ability to read early first.
Yes,
But the most of the time I saw that parents are not the readers, you know. So so the thing is, first we have to tell them parents should read a lot, and then they should give that reading ability to the children. So now what happens if the environment is not having books around? Like I have lots and lots of books around me. So my kids are seeing that, okay, there are books. So every occasion my daughter needs a book. On her birthday she needs book, and if some Diwali mela is happening in school, she will buy a book. She will ask me for book. She will take my Kindle and say that this book I need in this Kindle. She has in tablet, she will read there also, she will write. So she has that habit already, that okay, everywhere she need to read something. In the night
yes.
before sleeping also, she will read half an hour and then she will sleep.
That's an
So
awesome thing that you've inculcated for the child. And as you are saying, this I see that it's a parent who has invested that time, right? And that is what I stress on parents, right? That oftentimes parents think that reading skill is taught in school. It is not taught in school. In fact, I read an article that was published in one of the newspapers in August this year, right? Just a few months back, where Smriti Irani, she's our Minister for Minority, for children and women welfare. She said families, not schools, are responsible for inculcating reading skills, right? So it is a responsibility of the parents. And I see your point that if parents don't have that habit, how will they inculcate it, right? But the only thing I tell parents is that you don't have to have a library of 100 books in your library in your kitty. You will have Times of India, you will have Times magazine, you will have Forbes magazine, any magazine or newspaper you will subscribe. Just read that model. So children actually don't listen to you, they see you, they observe you. So when they see that parents are reading something every day, have it a practice, have some time every day, half an hour family reading time, 15 minutes family reading time. And when you do it as a family, then they know that okay, there is some value to this because my parents are doing it, I might as well try it.
hmm. So now the question again, that how to make this as a starting point for a parent or for a child. Like I'm seeing you that you are giving super effort to make this as a lifetime thing or habit. to read for children, because they have very little. See, you said from 3 to 6 years it should be done, like
Yes.
reading skills should be inculcated. After 6 years they are any which ways they are going to school and they will try to read somehow. But the reading skill you are talking about is totally different. The reading skills we learn in school is just for schools, because we first learn to write repeatedly, and then we read the words, and then we start reading the phrases, and the whole process, it is stupid for me actually. You know why? I share a little incident that I was in Iran, and I was talking with some scholar of Iran, the Persian language, and he was talking that you want to read the Persian. I said, like, I know Arabic, but yeah, Persian I have to, like he said he teach Persian to children. I said, how? Well, I teach them first to read, then to write or to do everything. Like, how? Because that's a different language altogether. Then he told me something that children don't understand the one word by word. They see the whole word, and they understand this the design of that word, and they read it. So you have to tell them that, okay, like this is the word. So the whole word they have to teach them first, and that's how they read it. So there are
Hmm.
children who are reading fluent Persian, and maybe they don't even know how to write also, maybe,
Yes.
but they read first.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in my mind also, that is a thing that we can give this reading ability first, then they can understand how to write and how to do everything else in the school later.
Yes, that is actually the way to progress, right? Now it is like you have a child, a crawling child. You won't expect that child to run, right? The crawling child have to first sit up, then stand, make baby steps, and then run.
Right.
Yes, but what we are doing in in our parenting, unfortunately, is as soon as they speak, when they are able to speak, when you go to schools, right, the first thing for LKG admission, pre-KG admission, the thing they ask is your child able to speak? If they're able
Yeah.
to speak, chalo, ho jayega, like your admission is granted.
Yep.
That is a very wrong approach. But unfortunately, schools, right? I mean, they make money when you send your child at 3 years, they make that money. So that's why the schools do it. And sometimes it's also lack of awareness, right? Even
Uh-huh.
some schools don't understand this. Even teachers
Yes.
sometimes don't understand how to make a child to read.
See, the thing you are saying, I was just interrupting because schooling system is the problem. Like
Yes,
schooling
yes.
system, the new school will follow the old school, and we will also expect school to behave in such a pattern that, okay, in junior kg they will do that, in senior kg they will do that, in first they will do that, and something like that, and this is the course, this is the curriculum, this is like that, blah blah blah. And that's how we put our child to under run, which everybody is going. So we
It
don't
is
have
actually not the schools, it's the education system,
education
right?
system.
We
Yeah.
need schools. We need schools for our children to have that social skill to develop as a overall human being. But our education system, that is broken, right? If our education system is, strong enough, if our education system is rebuilt, in fact, our education system is so outdated, right? Think about it. In our schools, we have, every child is different. One child is an artist, one child is an athlete, one child is a good orator. Somebody sings so well. But we put them all in one classroom. We evaluate them based on the STEM system, and we tell them you are not good enough,
Yeah.
right? So that is the problem with the education system. Our education system is broken, and we need to fix that education system. Our education system still teaches us algebra and integral calculus and things like that, which we don't use. I mean, tell me about a time in your life where you've used the integral calculus, right? I'm not against integral calculus or teaching integral calculus, but I'm saying schools should teach how to manage your emotions. Schools should teach how to manage money,
Right.
how to read a I mean, how to go and do a bank transaction,
Right.
how to be happy in life. School should teach you this. But these skills our school system do not teach, our education system do not teach. And
Okay.
that is where the problem is.
Now the whole thing we talked about problem. Now I'm the last question I will go about how what is the solution now. So the solution. Like, you have to tell me that you created the whole thing for these children.
Yes.
So tell me about that. That the solution is like that. Like, what parents should do, what child should do, what how the parents can come to you, and how to get the solution to this reading habit to the children. How to do that? So now,
Sure.
throw some light on that.
Sure, sure. So, like I told you, I've been working in the early education field for over 7 years now, through forms of storytelling, through reading aloud. I also have a YouTube channel called Little Story Station, where I started to read aloud books for children. Right. So, reading, is a learned art. It's a skill that needs to be taught to children, right? And the best way to approach reading for children, like you said, looking at the whole word and then remembering it, that's called photographic memory. But that is not a foolproof method, right? The right method to approach children with reading is the phonetical method, right? Teaching them phonics, the
Mm,
sounds of letters, right? Children should understand that every letter makes a sound,
mm,
and when you combine the sounds of the letters, then words are formed.
right.
And basically, words combined together form sentences and paragraphs and books, right? So, the way I approach children is by first, when they come into my community, I first inculcate the reading habit in them by doing a 21-day challenge. The reading habit is formed in the 21 days. Now, here I need parents to spend about 15 minutes a day. That's all you need to spend for your child every day to inculcate the habit. When I tell parents you have to be involved, some parents get worried that, I don't have the time. I'm very busy. 15 minutes we can spend for our children, for their future. So all you have to do is read to your child for 15 minutes a day. That is the first starting point. You asked me what is the starting point. Reading aloud to your child. It's not about the child reading. A parent should read to the child. Take a book, even a newspaper, and that is safe for children. Anything, a recipe book. Make them sit next to you and say, "Na, let us learn to read how to make a pav bhaji today." Right? Reading that. So when you're reading, your child is listening to all these new words. A child who is reading only 15 minutes a day or read to only 15 minutes a day for one school year, that child knows about 1.8 million words. And think about that magic that a child can create, right? So that's the first step. Creating. So I can't take, and oftentimes parents fail in inculcating reading habit because suddenly one day they take them from their gadget addiction, from their distraction, and say, okay, read this book. You give them the book, but you're not enabling them, right? So it's a slow process. First, you slowly move them from gadgets and put them to reading habit. They say it takes 21 days to create any new habit. So for 21 days, what I do is allow for children to read books along with their children. Enable parents to read books along with their children. After that phase, that's the first phase. So now a child is now understanding that there is fun in reading, right? Then I give them some lessons on how to read, how to look at every letter and make sound with that. What are sight words? What are word family? So I teach all of that slowly and this it happens with just one class a week, right? We do one live coaching session with the children every week. So it's called as a readathon. It's a hackathon kind of a thing, which happens for a period of 3 months. So during this period, the child will be taught all the basics. And by the end of the 3 months, your child is able to read sentences, right? And in fact, my USP or my magic wand has been that 100% of the time I've been able to do this. Every child that has entered into my community have been able to read fluently at the end of the course, right? So that's what we do, and it's a membership. It's not that I only teach course. It's like a membership. You become part of the community, and there are other members, other children. So like I told you, environment is very powerful. Our environment is stronger than our willpower, right? So your children, your child is surrounded by other children who are also readers. Automatically, they tend to read, right? And every Friday, I also read to them. I read books to the children. So that is the journey, right? And at the end of 6 months, your child is able to participate in a super reader contest, right? Where they participate in a contest, they're able to, display their reading skills in front of authors, in front of educators. I bring a jury of members who will evaluate these children, and the children win certificates and titles and medals, and that motivates them, right? So, and that is the journey, right? It's a very steady process, very methodical. It's very easy to inculcate the habit, but it's not something that gets developed like overnight, like any skill, right? Like you learn to dance, it takes you 6 years. You learn to sing, it takes you 4 to 5 years to do a good performance, right? Same, it's like that, right? And it takes, if left to school, some schools are even not able to make children read for 3 years, 4 years. And I've seen a lot of children who did not go to school in during the COVID time. They are the most affected because they did not get that basic at the right time. So now children who are in second grade, first grade, third grade, they are the ones most affected, right? So, but once you inculcate this, go step by step, a methodical process that is followed, in 6 months your child can become a reader. And and that's how I approach this in a very systematic manner. I worked this, applied this with my own son, my own child. I've applied this with over 100 plus children, and it has worked like a magic every single time. So the advice that I give to parents that's watching this is, spend time reading to your child every day. Read 15 minutes of books with your child. In fact, that's my mission overall, a long-term mission, Sajid, is that at some point in time, India at 9 p.m., it should be the read aloud time for families. That's my long-term mission, right? Shut down your gadgets, shut down your TV and serial that's going on. 9 p.m., bedtime time, bedtime story time, where children and parents bond and they read stories together. That's the vision I'm moving towards.
And that's beautiful mission as well. Means like this would be a really great two I mean like two ways, like for parents also, for children also, and for that bond also, because now
Yes.
people are like into their gadgets. Parents are into their mobile, children are onto their mobiles, and they don't understand
Totally.
what's going on. So
Yes.
this would be a really good thing to do as well, and this is for long life, for any achievements also. Even what I feel also, if I want to give somebody a knowledge, I will give them the book related to that. So if
Hmm.
you are already inculcating this reading habit to your child, even in whole life, any point of your time, if you think that okay, I need to give this gift or this knowledge to my child, I will give that book to put to that child. Okay, read this book. So she
Hmm.
or he will be like reading with her heart, and okay, and now because they love reading,
Yes,
we have
exactly.
them see in whole, in so many incidents we listen that reading makes them sleepy, right? Like they're
Hmm.
reading, let's sleeping. It means they're not loving the reading. With me, if I start reading, I cannot sleep
Hmm.
the whole
Hmm.
night. I have to finish
Yes.
that book. You
Yes.
know.
Yes.
So there
Yeah.
are two different type of scenario. That one who loves reading, he cannot sleep with the reading, and so we have to cultivate that habit. That
Yes.
reading should be fun. The reading
So
should be.
reading for fun, for pleasure, that's what we call it, right? Reading for pleasure. So when your child is able to read for pleasure, obviously when you have a pleasurable thing, you will not want to close the book, you will not fall asleep. So reading for pleasure is what you should inculcate in your child. Textbook reading is not what I'm talking about here. It's the reading for pleasure, reading outside of textbook, right? In fact, there's one fact I wanted to share with you. Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and all the other things that he's doing, Steve Jobs, all these people were readers when they're very, very young. In fact, Steve Jobs is a college dropout. Mark Zuckerberg is a college dropout, but still they were able to make, build an empire around them because of the books that they were
Mhm.
reading. Right, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, you name any achieved people in the world, you will go back to their roots, you will see that they were book lovers, they were readers from when they were young. So if you want your child to be the leader, if you want your child to be the next CEO or building another empire for the future, books is where you start.
I'm already sold with your idea, so that is more.
Yes.
But for the viewers and for the people around, like who really wants to do something for their child, this is the best thing they can do for their child. And so, what I'm going to do now to conclude our talk today, it was awesome talking with you actually. And
Same here.
this is seriously, you are doing really, really great because parents are looking something like this around that, okay, there is somebody to go or something to do that they will help them to. As I told you, that not every parent is a reader. So they, if they want to one shot, okay, there is a methodology, they have to go somewhere, they can get the courses, or they can get this kind of community for their child. So there is you to connect.
Absolutely.
So what I'm going to
Absolutely.
do, I'll put your website in my podcast. I will put your YouTube handle as well. And if you have anything more to connect with you, I think your website will do the justice, right?
Yes, www.earlyreaderslab.com. That's where you have to go. Early Readers Lab, that's what it is. And you can also connect to my YouTube channel under the same name, or you can connect to Little Story Station. So these are the ways through which you can reach out to me.
So no,
And I
definitely.
also conduct webinars for parents, right, to make them understand how to read and all that. I do periodic webinars, so you can also check that out.
So I think that everything is there on your website. So I
Yes,
think
it's all in the website. Yeah.
viewers that just go to that website and to get all the details for from Gomti. And this was really pleasure talking with you actually. So this reading talks, I can go on and on and on, but I think I took already so much of your time already.
Oh,
So
absolutely. It is a topic that's close to my heart, and it's no wonder that we were able to connect, right? We are born by the love for reading. So
yes,
it was such a pleasure, speaking with you for the past half an hour, Sajid, and totally enjoyed our conversation.
no, no, thank you so much. It's pleasure is all mine, and thank you for coming on to my podcast and talking about reading.
Absolutely.
We are talking about reading, right? I love the idea, like we are talking and we are talking about reading.
Yes,
So I love to talk, love to read, so both are like happening in this podcast, and I hope the viewers will find this value. And talking with you is always a pleasure, so please be in touch, and I will send every detail in my podcast to connect with you if my viewers want to go for reading.
absolutely. And happy Children's Day to all the children of the future leaders of our future. So happy Children's Day to everybody, all the little ones that's watching this also.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for
Thank
coming,
you very much.
and we'll be in
Thank you
touch.
so much.
Thank you so much.
All
Bye
the
bye.
best.
Yeah.
Bye bye.